Yeah. Good afternoon, all of you. My sincere apologies because it got really delayed because of some issues with streaming in the YouTube and Zoom. This happened yesterday as well around this time. I'm sorry for that. Right now, we have Dr. Smita Jain with us. Dr. Smita is a very well-known science communicator, and she's now serving as Executive Director of India Bioscience. Everyone knows about India Bioscience. It's one of the most famous science portal in India. And of course, India Bioscience is actually not really limited just for science communication, but also into several interesting things that Smita is now going to talk about. Uh, Dr. Smita holds PhD in cancer biology from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, where she worked on probably BRCA1, a well-known gene, responsible for the breast cancer, and she played a key role in the establishment of processes at C Camp in Bangalore in the initial years of its inception. For outsourcing and other works at C Camp, she has actually played a very important role for the making that C Camp, and she's a budding leader involved in taking activities of the India Bioscience to newer heights in establishing a strong knit network of Indian life science professionals. And she is recipient of India Alliance IRMI Research Management Grant and Travel Award to attend INOMS in Japan, and strongly believes in equal playing field, simple life, and hard work. And I always admire the Smita for her actually passion for science popularization, and more than that, she's coming from such a respected IAC Bangalore, and still she chose to be a science communicator, and that actually shows about her risk taking as well. So, without wasting much time, I would like to invite my co-moderator, Dr. Yogalakshmi, to say a few words before the session starts. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Felix. Welcome back. Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome back. I would like to welcome the participants as well as the speaker of the day, Dr. Smita. Just before starting this session, we were having a talk. She is full of energy. So without any wasting much of your time, I would not like to stay between the speaker and the audience. And I welcome her, and then I would like to ask her to deliver her talk. Welcome, Dr. Smita. Over to you.
Thank you both of you. I hope I'm audible and my slide is visible.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here and talking to all of you as part of the Science Leadership Workshop, one of its first kinds in India. And for that, I must thank all the academies, India's Central University of Punjab, all the organizers, especially Felix, who's been working day and night, I understand, for this workshop, and all the volunteers who have put together this mammoth task of, brilliantly putting together this workshop, having some stellar speakers, amazing leaders to come and share their journeys. So, and as I was listening to Professor Ashutosh Sharma the very first day of this workshop, where he said that it's not that leaders are only found at the top of the pyramid. That's not true. Leaders, you have leaders at every step, starting from the base of the pyramid. So I guess that's where we have to change our mindset, that leadership is not just about the top, it's about a journey. And with that note, I guess I would start my talk. It's just very broadly divided into two sections. I'll talk about my own career journey so far and the key takeaways from this journey. And then I'll talk about India Bioscience, who's helping nurture future science leaders. So we have heard some amazing leaders over the course of last few days. And what I felt that was common between all of them is that they've built an amazing career. For them, this has not been a job. And I'll just come in a minute about what the difference is between a career and a job. Also, they all are self-contemplative. They do a lot of self-introspection, which helps in building their very clear vision. They all have been passionate, decisive, and courageous. And these are some of the key qualities of a leader. As I said, there is a difference between career and a job, and it's very important for each one of us to understand that career is actually a journey. It's a lifelong professional journey, which kind of integrates learning throughout. It's not a stagnating journey. It's continuous learning. Lot of hard work goes into it, and amazing amount of passion has to get into it in order to make that journey fruitful. Whereas a job is only something that one performs to earn money in order to support the living. So that's a key difference, I guess, one has to understand if you want to take the path of leadership. And definitely a successful career provides motivation to continue to do well, and at the end of it, lots and lots of happiness. There's another very important point that I feel is critical, is self-contemplation, which I just said that all the leaders have ability to self-introspect what they are doing, how they are doing, and why they are doing. It's this why which is very, very critical, because that's what gives the purpose, the cause for whatever you are doing. So with that, I guess I would get into my own journey. I started in a place called Benares. I'm sure all of you are familiar with. I learned about DNA. Let me tell you a story. I learned about DNA when I was in class 6th. And that's when my interest in biology arose. I was simply intrigued by this fascinating molecule which can do wonders. So with that interest in biology and passion and hard work, which were kind of instilled in me from the family members, I started my journey. And so where was the foundation laid, and how was the foundation laid? As I said, my learning in science was at home as well as school. And this is where I developed the art of, or the ability to logically think. I moved on, and this is, again, I would say, and this morning when I was listening to Professor Jamil, I realized a lot of parallels, in his and mine journey in the initial years. I was kind of fairly good student in school, and the most logical, as in quotes, most logical way forward was to get into a medical school. But I was very clear that I would never be a good doctor because I always hated hospitals. And I took a decision of not going into medicine, which created a huge uproar. My dad was called in for a counseling session, but as always, I got his support, moved on, and decided to join Banaras Hindu University for my bachelor's degree in botany, zoology, chemistry. And this is where I found some amazing uh, who kind of motivated all of us to continue moving forward with lots and lots of hard work. From there, as Professor Jamil mentioned, there was a reason why I decided to move out of PHU, because again, my dad was there and I didn't want the credit of performing well. Maybe I was not worried about what if I do not perform well, as Dr. Jamil was saying in his talk, but I was worried that if I do good, the credit would not come to me, but it would be like, because my dad is there, I've excelled. So for that reason, I decided to go to Baroda. Amazing decision, because the coursework at Baroda in the biotech department was simply amazing. Learned a lot of teamwork, lot of multitasking abilities. We were given free hands to take decisions, and that was definitely amazing. Uh, okay, so that's where I learned teamwork, multitasking, decision making. And I miss telling that when I was in my undergrad, I had an opportunity to come to IIC for a summer course. I did my 2 months training in Professor M.R.S. Rao's lab, and that's where I decided that if ever I do a PhD, it'll be from IIC. And well, few years down the line, I was at IIC. Not sure why my slide is not going forward. Okay, I land up at IIC with lots of hopes, because the lab where I had worked previously was a completely well-established lab. And here I was in 1999, in my lab, which was a completely empty room because my PhD supervisor had just joined. And that was at the very first moment, a a setback. I was not sure if I had taken the right decision. But all he told me was that, well, we have a fridge full of chemicals and you can get started. And that's how we got started. Again, learned a lot of teamwork, courage, resilience, ability to think critically, to manage my time, because we had to, since our lab was not well functional, we had to ask neighboring labs to give us their reagents or their instruments in order for us to work. And that meant many at times, many months of continuously working overnight. So this is how the foundation was laid. Kind of learned all these various different skills, finished my degree in cancer biology. But that's where there was something growing inside me, and I was thinking, what next? Because again, a next logical move was to go for a postdoc, because that's what everyone would do. But I was in two minds. I had this degree in my hand, the key in my hand, but I was not sure which lock to unlock. Again, standing at that crossroad, I did some self-introspection, looked into my own skills, my natural abilities, what I was good at, my interests, basically looked into what motivates me, what are my values, what is the purpose. And that's where I took a decision that, okay, let me travel a road less traveled. I decided not to go for a postdoc and got into an unknown path. So what was that unknown path? I joined industry in the R&D sector, worked there for about 3 years. Definitely learned a lot, a lot of organizational skills, a lot of professionalism that got into me was because of the working in industry for 3 years. But at the end of those 3 years, I realized that bench work is not for me. I was not getting that satisfaction which I wanted from my career. And that's when, again, I took a huge risk, I would say. I decided to move out of the wet lab, join CCAMP, which was a new organization. This was way back in 2009 and 10. I joined CCAMP in their business development and project management unit as a business and project manager. And the 5 years that I spent at CCAMP were where I found my passion. I realized that, well, this is where my heart lies. I learned a lot of decision making, a lot of management skills, And that's when I started to build my, network across the country, which at that point I didn't know that it would come handy. But when I joined India Bioscience in 2016, I realized that how valuable that network is that I had developed way back. So I joined India Bioscience in 2016 in a leadership role. And all I can say from this journey was that all the skills that I mentioned so far, each one of them, and in fact, lot many more have been learning in this journey, have come handy in, doing everything that we do at India Bioscience. So I can say that, the key that I had in my hand helped me. At that point, maybe I was not sure whether I'm unlocking the right lock, but yes, I did. I took some risk, not some, I guess. I was told again and again by a lot of people. Luckily, I had the support of my family, but I was told by many that, you are not doing justice to what you have in your hand. But I followed my heart, and I guess I could unlock the lock, resulting in a path to success. I should not say success, I'm still on my journey forward, but definitely I found a lot of happiness in this path. So here I guess I would say that the key takeaways during this journey has been: be decisive and courageous to take risk. Because let me tell you something here. When I came to ISC for my summer training during my graduation, I, I didn't know how to speak in English. And here I was all by myself, coming from Banaras, spending 2 months in IIC without worrying that what others would think about me. I just couldn't converse, but yes, I was courageous and I picked up the skill and the ability to converse in English. So I would say that never be afraid of taking risk. As Sir Winston Churchill had said, that fear is a reaction and courage is a decision. So be decisive and courageous, because it's only when you take the risk, you travel those roads which are less traveled, that you find something amazing, something that would give you lots of happiness. The other major takeaway from my journey is: be clear of what you do not want, even if you do not know what you want. Because let's say when I was standing at the crossroad of school to college, or after PhD to postdoc, I was absolutely not sure that what I want. It's just that I was very clear that what I do not want. I never wanted to get into medical school. I never wanted to go for a postdoc. So I never went. So that's another important lesson that I've learned, and I would like to share with all of you, that be clear of what you do not want, even if you do not know what you want. And you will find lots and lots of crossroads multiple times in this journey, but always just think, align yourself, do that self introspection, and move forward. So this is a lesson, or the my experience that I wanted to share. Maybe here I would like to add one more point, especially for the women who are listening, that I had my first child when I was doing my PhD. I got married in between. I had my first child, and I guess that never deterred me from doing what I wanted to do. I still finished my PhD the way it should have been. 2 months after the baby was born, I was back in the lab working. Next 6 months, I guess, I hardly slept because the baby would not let me sleep whole night. But again, just be courageous. If you want to do something, please go ahead and do that. So with that, I guess I would switch gears and talk about India Bioscience, the place where I work currently, and what India Bioscience is, what we do for the community. And let me tell you a quick story about India Bioscience. this whole concept was born over a dinner conversation, again, way back in 2009, um, actually 2008, over a dinner conversation where a need was felt to have a platform for young researchers where they can network and get mentored. With this very simple thought, the concept of India Bioscience was born, the website came into existence, uh, and it grew. There was a lot of support from the community, it grew. And now, currently, India Bioscience is majorly supported by Department of Biotechnology. We also have funds from India Alliance, from MHRD, and definitely a huge support from the community whom we serve. Uh, Now, what are the mandates around which India Bioscience works? Major mandates are networking, communication, skill building, education, data, and policy. And I would touch upon in today's conversation how networking, communication, and skill development verticals are helping nurture future science leaders. Okay, so as I said, we are definitely, in fact, when I was putting this whole presentation together, I realized that we have a lot to offer to the community in terms of building leadership skills. So what all we do, a lot of advising, skill workshops, training, teaching, coaching, motivation, mentorship, and a lot more. So let me quickly take you through that journey. As I said, networking is one of our major verticals, and young investigators meeting, which were actually born before India Bioscience came into existence. We have already held about 12 different YIMS in different parts of the country. And what do we do at this YIM, and how the YIMS have been useful in developing leaders? So you all would agree that some of the key skills a leader must have is a great network, ability to collaborate, ability to get funds in order to make your dreams come true, develop great mentorship skills, because you all are leading teams. You should have the ability to communicate, to share your scientific ideas with the world. And definitely, as a leader, you should be sensitive towards social issues. And these are various different things that we do at YIM. We every year at YIM, we get 40 young investigators, 40 postdocs from across the world with mentors and institutional heads, and kind of facilitate a discussion in various different forms amongst themselves in order to help them develop all these various skills, which as a leader, one must develop. In 2018, when we finished 10 years of YIM, we decided to do it a little differently again. In order to empower future leaders, what we did was we brought all the alumni of YIM together, made them sit, they all discussed some key pertinent issues relevant for the R&D ecosystem, and came up with their thoughts that each leader must have. And we all put together and published it as a meeting report in Current Science. So these are different ways in which we work with the future leaders. Now, the YIMS are more national, and it happens once every year. So at this alumni meet, a need was also felt that we must develop regional networks and facilitate, collaboration within each different community, each different region. And that's how the concept of regional YIMS was born. Again, these are meetings which are more networking, mentoring, and developing leadership skills. So we have had 4 such meetings in last 1.5 years, and we are hoping to have more in this year, maybe in a little or slightly different format, mostly going to be online. So with that, I guess I would move on to how our science communication vertical is helping develop future leaders. So the website that we have is basically helping bring visibility to the Indian science and science leaders. And we give a voice to practicing scientists and science professionals, because for for us, each individual matters. The opinion, the voice, the vision of each individual definitely matters. And we feel that it's worth sharing this vision, this thought with the world. And that's how, you would find lots of different kinds of news, column pieces, conversations, opinion pieces on the website. If you've not visited, please visit www.indiabioscience.org. It has really enormous amount of information and some very useful information. So as I was saying, in order to give visibility and share thoughts, we do very different kinds of pieces for the website, sharing experiences, something like 10 leaders, 10 questions series. We have had 3 such art series. And in fact, I've been posting these on the Science Leadership Workshop Forum on Facebook. Many of you would have seen them. We have got a lot of conversation with leaders. The young investigators share their thoughts, their experiences, their learnings. And we also provide platform for the PhD students, which are budding young leaders, to share their experiences as the PhD, as part of the PhD Cafe series. Well, there are a whole lot of other skills that a young leader, a budding leader in science should have. As I said, networking is one key skill. Mental health. We all have been hearing a lot of talks about mental health, especially under the current time. Even otherwise, this is another key area, or I should say a key major issue facing academia that we all must be very, very sensitive about. Research ethics, networking, mentoring. So these are all key areas which are important for a future leader to develop. And there are a whole lot of articles, resources, infographics on these issues, on these various issues on our website. Please feel free to go and read, share, download. Gender issue. Okay, so this is again another very key point that each one of us must keep at the forefront. And I guess there is a lot of sensitivity that's coming in the system, but still a lot has to be done. So India Bioscience is very, very sensitive about this issue. We have had conversations with a lot of trailblazing women in science. In fact, this book, Spurti, that we came up with 2 years back, is a book full of resources and conversations with women, not just from research background, but women who have carved their niche in various other science career paths. We make sure that all our meetings are inclusive. We have almost equal number of men and women as speakers, as panelists. We make sure that we discuss this issue in all our meetings. And that's how we are, as an organization, we are playing our bit in sensitizing the community towards gender issue. The third vertical at India Bioscience, which is skill building. What is it, and what are we doing in order to promote skill building in our science community? As I myself made a transition from, as Felix also made a comment in the beginning, that after a PhD, I decided to move out. Maybe I was not clear what career path I would take, but I kind of took a risk and moved out. But time has come when we all should be aware of various different career paths. And the time is ripe. We have amazing opportunities that exist right here in India for people to pursue and make use of their own skills, interests, and values in developing various career paths. So we are trying our best to create this awareness, popularize different science careers, and impart relevant skills to the professionals of life science community. And what do I mean by skills? So these can be, let's say, soft skills, ability to manage your time, ability to understand yourself, network better, write proper CVs, and multiple such things. So, we kind of put together a workshop called Crafting Your Career, CYC, which we developed in-house over coffee conversations. And we delivered this workshop at multiple places across India last year, and these have been very well received. We also have been doing workshops on science communication, on grants writing, on mm, lots of other skills, and we hope to get into more of leadership workshops as well in future. This book Disha is something that we just came up with. We released it early this year, written by Dr. Suman Govil, who was at DBT, and this is a career resource book for life science students. So which is a comprehensive book talking about the skills, talking about the opportunities that exist for the young researchers. We also are helping train a workforce of talented young professionals through our various internship programs. These are still in its very nascent stage. We are trying our best to kind of enhance it. But yes, we do have interns come over and work with us. We also have our podcast series called India Bio Speaks. And the current series is mostly on careers, where we have spoken with a lot of various different people who have carved their niche in multiple career paths. So these are all resources that we have, these are all resources that we have built for the community in order to take it, grab it, understand, with the intention that this would help nurture new skills in each one of you. Okay, so coming to the concept of teams, I guess behind every successful program, there is a team that works. Nothing, no individual, no leader is complete without the team that's backing him or her. And I would say India Bioscience, and I can say now, I have been personally very fortunate to have an amazing team at India Bioscience. I guess each one of us gets our own space to work. Each one of us have our say to, in decision making. And that's how cohesively we work, we function very effectively. So this is the India Bioscience team in the center. Also, very interestingly, each of the programs of India Bioscience are not done in isolation, but bringing the community together. So each of our YIMS and regional YIMS have organizers come from across the community, across gender, from different life science field, but from different, let's say, universities or institutes, central universities, state universities. So these are very dynamic, diverse teams which come together, bring in individual perspectives, experiences, which help in making the outcome really, really successful. So I would say that this is another very key aspect of a leader, to build in teams which always back you wherever the organization is heading to. Just to end, I guess we are also helping the community. Though there is a drastic change in the community, but India Bioscience has been helping bring in this change in order to have more environmentally friendly practices. So all our meetings, which used to have lots of plastic in it few years back, have kind of gone completely plastic free. So this is just a representation. So with that, I guess I would like to end with a quote from my own role model. Let me define a leader. He must have vision. I would say he or she must have a vision and passion and not be afraid of any problem. Instead, he or she should know how to defeat it. Most importantly, he or she must work with integrity. So with that, thank you. And over to you, Felix. If there are questions, happy to take it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smita. As I introduced, I felt so energetic, and your talk was actually vibrating and then resonating like anything. I felt that that energy I got into me. I would
Thank
say
you.
like the key takeaways from your presentation is like passion. If you do anything with passion, it will lead to success. That is one thing. And then before you do something, introspect yourself, analyze the values, skills, interest, and then be bold and courageous. You should take, risks with more boldness and then courageous nature, which is very, very important for women in the current situation. I personally feel that is very, very important to be bold and to be courageous. And then nothing can stop a woman if she thinks to pursue ahead, like no hindrances, nothing. So only passion, and if you have that boldness, you're going to achieve something great. And you are so modest, saying like still there is a long path way to go, and I've not achieved much. But whatever you are saying, it is like astonishing for me. And like every like you are able to correlate with our earlier speaker, professor, and then most of his career path and your career path was actually matching a lot. Yeah. And then you rightly pointed out the difference between a career and a job. Yeah, job would only fetch you money, but a career will fetch you like satisfaction, self-satisfaction, happiness, and then success. That is what is actually needed, and that is what is going to build a science leader. And you also outlined like English as a language, just a language. You can learn it at any point of time. That is not going to stop any individual from performing globally. That is another main key takeaway. Then how you are involved in developing a leader. It's not like we become a leader. We have to play a role in creating young minds, and then to make them a leader, because they are the future generation. Yeah. So all these things was actually enlightening, and I think I feel fortunate to moderate this session and then listen to you. So happy.
Thank you,
Dr.
No, you very, very well summarized my talk. Thank you for doing that.
No, it's not just about summarizing. Actually, it was the key takeaways, which was actually enlightening. Now we can take some questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's a question from Ashpreet Kaur. She's asking, being a women scientist, how do you balance both personal and professional life?
Okay. So as I said, definitely there's a support from the family that's needed, but slowly you have to also change them. It should not just be that the family is helping you when you need. You have to slowly train them to be part of your journey. You have to train them, and that's precisely what I did. I guess I never it's not the issue that, let's say, you're not getting help or support from your husband because maybe they've not seen it. But just because you are a working woman, you are a working professional, you need to gradually train your families and in order to support you. And also I feel we as mothers have the onus to bring the next generation in a way that they play an equal role in taking care of the family or the family responsibilities. As Felix said in the very beginning, I completely believe in an equal playing field. So the equal playing field should not just be at the work front, but also at home front. And if that happens, balancing this becomes very, very easy. I hope I've answered that.
Okay. So fantastic talk, Smita. It is amazing. A lot of interesting aspects, and I'm sure that many people are really inspired from your talk, and especially the women. So, women in science is one of the key theme of the ongoing workshop. And there are a lot of similarities. When you're speaking, I was just thinking about myself, and you and me share a lot of things. And by the way, I just want to say that I first met you. I hope you recollect me. I met you in the YIM in Faridabad. And the viewers, please apply for Young Investigators meeting. It's 2016, yes. So the YIMs are amazing place for networking. It's don't miss out. Always apply for the next YIM. I strongly suggest you. And also thank you, Smita. You are active member of our Facebook professional group. And yes, so please share if that book is free. The Spurti's book. I'm not really sure. Is it a free book or not?
It's all free.
It's not a free book. Then you can send the link. Okay.
No, so
yeah.
Felix.
Yes, yes.
Felix, if
Can
I
you
can
hear me?
add, all the resources that India Bioscience, yes, I can. All the resources at India Bioscience are free for download. I would definitely put in the links in the group, but all of you are also welcome to visit the website and look at the content. Yeah.
So I would like to say that the India Biosciences also, many participants actually joined this, they came to know about this ongoing lecture workshop through India Bioscience only, because I put an ad there, and many people are actually looking at, I think India Bioscience is the biggest website for all this meeting and other things, everything, the networking. True. It's an amazing, you did a great job. Yes. Another thing which you talked about is an inclusivity and inclusive meeting. And I'm really happy to say that we, in this series, out of 27 speakers, 16 are females and only 11 are male. And we also made sure that every single meeting, 2 moderators, 1 male and 1 female, Perfect. Because it matters really. And also you spoke about simplicity, and of course you are a simple person, and that is amazing thing. And also the APJ Abdul Kalam, he's my role model too, how simple a person can be. And another connection I noticed is about the plastic-free meeting. So, this is basically the 5th such program that we are organizing in the Central University of Punjab. 4th, actually. 3 programs I already conducted. So it was science academies, that is science education program of the 3 national science academies. Supported refresher program. We conducted 2 refresher program and 1 lecture workshop. All were actually, offline mode. But I made sure that we did not use a single plastic. So, wonderful. Friends, if you're watching, and if you're a faculty, why not implement it? Don't use Flexboard for your next meeting, and don't use, the bottled water. Instead, go with a normal cup of water, just have a water faucet, so the others can, steal. Why not steal glass? So that is a very good thing. So I'm just looking at the connection, it's amazing talk. Thank you so much, Dr. Smita. Let me also pick up one question here. Ravina Pal is asking, can we improve cancer research through personalized medicine guided by a combination of genomic and proteomic information of the tumor cells? This is too technical question, because you are also, your specialization is in cancer biology. Yeah.
I guess I would not be in the right place to, let me confess. I don't think I am now in the right place to answer that question, because as I said, I've moved out of research long time back. So my apologies there. I won't be able to answer that.
Preeti, she is asking a question like, how can we contribute to India Bioscience as freelancer, and how can researchers hone their writing and then other skills, improve their writing and other skills? Yeah. Okay. Writing and yeah.
Perfect. So just write to us at hello@indiabioscience.org with your, with your thoughts, what you want to write, and we'll take it from there. hello@indiabioscience.org is the email to write. Okay, and I guess in order, just one more point, and in order to improve writing, I guess the only way is to keep writing. Maybe have your personal blog, just keep writing, and writing, because the more you practice, maybe have a peer group. On India Bioscience Forum, on India Bioscience website, we have a forum for science communicators. You can join that, because there are mentors. You can always ask questions that you have for your, for improving your science communication skills, and the mentors would get back to you.
So here is my pick. Vanishka Singh is asking, in context of career over job, please help us reconcile with holding multiple roles that may not be logical next step to prior research and still remain a cohesive perspective about one's career.
Sorry, Felix, I'm sorry.
Just posting it in the chat box as well. You can just have a look at that. I will read once again. In context of career over job, please help us reconcile with holding multiple roles that may not be a logical next step to prior pursuits and still maintain a cohesive perspective about one's career. It's kind of a complicated way.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but if I've understood the question correctly, even if you are shifting gears, as I was talking when I was, sharing my own journey, uh, each step, there's a lot to learn. And that's something we must be very clear that what are the skills that we are learning. It's perfectly okay. Life is really long. It's perfectly okay that if you have spent 2 years, 3 years, or whatever, a long time in a given role, and then you want to switch, it's perfectly okay. I always believe that it's your life, it's your decision, and no one but you should be able to take that decision, because whatever learnings you have had in that time period would help you take the next step and move ahead in your career.
Okay, I'll take up a question. It's a question from Ritika. Could you shed light on where the Indian system lacks to produce good leaders? Does it have something with our education system?
I guess yes, and no, both. See, education system definitely, we don't teach leadership qualities per se. It's only if someone is kind of, keeping his or her eyes open and ears open, and you kind of start imbibing these skills. But there's no clear cut coursework that is taught to you. So I guess to some extent, yes, I really feel that this is a skill that must be taught. Uh, Leaders should be encouraged, though each one of us do lot of different things starting from our school days towards leadership, but these are never acknowledged as something that you are imbibing leadership skills. That's one. So that's where I feel more structured programs which are now coming up would be very, very helpful. Programs like this would be very, very helpful in order to help people develop. But yes, also I feel it's the onus of the current leadership in order that they should pick up the right talent at the very early age and help them nurture. If you see a younger colleague really good at something, the complete autonomy should be given to that younger colleague to develop that program, to develop that course, or to take care of any particular thing. So once you give complete autonomy, once that complete autonomy is given by the senior leadership, you're automatically helping develop the next generation leaders. So these are two things, I guess, have to go hand in hand in order to develop leaders.
Absolutely.
Okay, here is my pick. It is by Sai Shruti from Odisha is asking, I'm a budding science writer and science communicator. Does India Bioscience offer any internship opportunities for students or budding writers like me?
We do. We do. In fact, currently there's one intern who's working with us. Last year, we had announced an internship opportunity wherein, we got large number of applications and we selected, and then there was an online internship that our program manager science communication, Shreya Ghosh, takes care. So she kind of nurtured this talent. This year as well we might announce the internship. So my suggestion would be just stay connected with the website, and the best way to stay connected is either through our social media handles, or just subscribe to the newsletter. It's very easy. Down on the homepage we have a subscribe button to the newsletter. Just subscribe so that you are aware of the announcements that we are making. And we plan to actually increase the internship in future so that we can develop more skill.
Great. There's a question from Urmila. She's asking what logical steps we should take if we fail to take the right decision.
Just don't be deterred. I guess there's nothing like right or wrong decision. Again, if I look back and if I say that, well, joining the industry was not the right decision after my PhD, PhD, I should have straight away gone for administration because this is what was my key skill. But no, I guess there's nothing like a failure. 3 years spent in industry taught me a lot of other things. Uh, as I said, the organizational skill, the professionalism. Uh, Otherwise, I would not have learned if I would have continued in academia or even, switched gears, but in academia. So there's nothing like a failure. There's nothing like a right or a wrong decision. It's at that point you thought it's right and you took that. Just go ahead, do it, but keep doing the self introspection. And if any point you feel it's not what you want, it's not giving you that happiness, please be courageous enough to take the right decision and move paths. That's my take on it.
Here is a question from Vanishka Singh. In context of career over job, please help us reconcile with holding multiple roles. Sorry.
This is done.
That's not this is done. This is done. Another question, Manisha Machi is asking, being a woman, marriage always makes me worry about my career. It is a challenge for me. Did you feel that marriage can become a trouble in my career? How did you manage both career and marriage? Troublemaker.
Well, it again depends on the perspective. How do you take it? Because again, as a person, for me, both are important. Your career is important, and having a personal life is very important. And as I said, if you have a supporting partner, things become very, very easy. For some, maybe that's where the problem comes. And also at times, I feel that many cases I have seen that even if you have a very supportive family and a partner, many times you yourself take a little back step towards your career, thinking that managing two things is daunting, it's not something easy. Well, if you want success, if you want a successful career, it's not going to be an easy proposition. There's going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, a lot of self motivation that would be needed. Let me share with you, as I said, when my first baby was born, and 2 months later I started going back to the lab. At that point somewhere I thought maybe after PhD I would just quit. I can't leave him at home all by himself. But that's where the support from the spouse was very important. And so it has to be a journey that would be not very easy, but you have to stay self motivated, and with support, I'm sure these two things can be balanced very easily. Another important point to remember here is that be very courageous. If you think that's the right decision, please put your foot forward. Because if you as a woman do not put that foot forward, I guess word would take over you. So it's also very important to be assertive, to be clear what you want. And once you've made that clear to your people, everyone would fall in line. That's again, from experience I'm talking, and it's very, very helpful.
Yeah, there's a question from Abhinav. He's asking, is there any internship as a freelancer for school teachers?
Not really. We don't have anything specific for school teachers, but depends what this person wants to do. If wants to write, let's say, if he's a school teacher and he wants to write, please, Abhinav, feel free to just shoot an email to us at hello@indiabioscience.org with your thoughts, and we'll take the conversation forward from there. But maybe here, Felix, maybe one point I would like to make here, because he mentioned he's a school teacher. I would urge you to look at I Wonder. This is a science magazine for school teachers, science teachers teaching in school, which Azim Premji Foundation brings out, and India Bioscience partners with them in order to bring this magazine. So it's a amazingly beautiful collection of resources. Again, it's all free. You can just type "I Wonder" and you will get your free copy on, it's free for download. So if you have some great thoughts, you can always connect with the editors of the magazine or us if you want to wish to write for that magazine as well.
Very nice. Yeah, I was just thinking about your answer to the partner, and it also depends upon the. I hope you're there. I don't see you.
Yes, I'm here.
You're here. Okay. So yeah. So yesterday's talk was by Robert, and Robert emphasized on the gender in the life as well. Again, it depends a lot context on you man or woman, because if you're equally contributing in housecore activities, everything that matters. And I think that you have emphasized on that point as well. Now coming to a second question. Now here's Shruti Sai again asking from Odisha. As a writer, you must be spending significant amount of time writing. How is your day like? How many times you spend? How long you spend a day in writing, and do you use any copy editing tools like Grammarly? Any tips to improve writing?
Okay, so Shruti, let me clarify something. I've been introduced as a science communicator, though I myself do not call that I'm a science communicator. I definitely am involved, but at India Bioscience, it's right now Shreya who takes care of our science communication. I kind of take charge of a whole lot of other things. So I don't think I get time now to sit and write, though I really want to. I keep saying that. I don't get that time to, that free mind to sit and write, because as I said, this program is huge, and there are, we work with really large number of people from across the community, across country and outside country. So my typical day, if you will ask me, starts about 5ish in the morning. First few hours go in putting my thoughts, or if there's an important document to work on, because that's a very peaceful time. I just love sitting, working with a cup of tea. uh, Spend some time in my little garden, do some exercise. Usually I am on my system back again at 9 to 9:30, work till 4:30 to 5, because I've always made sure that I also give quality time to my kids who are growing up. And I feel that it's my responsibility as a mother to spend quality time with, kids and family. So usually I wind up by 5. Don't go beyond that unless it's needed. So yeah, that's my typical day like. And so in this day, there's a lot of communication, lots of writing, lots of report making, multiple other things. I hope I answer your question partly.
Yeah, there's a question from Deepthi. She's asking, what is your vision of India as a world leader in scientific research?
Wonderful question. In fact, just yesterday, I was moderating this panel on R&D ecosystem in India. And we can definitely be world leaders. It's just that we have to put few of our acts together. One, we have to start believing in ourselves. Once we start believing in ourselves, in our own people, in our own strengths, I guess we can do wonders. Because whatever I've been reading in last 3 months after the pandemic has struck, the way we could change things in last 3 months in terms of becoming, let's say, self-sufficient in testing, because that's what I heard Dr. Renu in her talk. You know, from testing to kits to masks to finding solutions, gearing labs, changing gears, a lot can be done, and India can definitely reach the top very soon if we kind of make use of the current opportunity, start believing in ourselves, and start investing little more in R&D. As a country, if we start investing little more and give that much needed push, India will be at the top. We have really bright talent. There's no dearth of talent. So as I said, it's just that we have to believe on our own talent.
Over to you, Felix, sir.
All right. Yeah. So here is a pic. During PhD, this is asked by Surabhi Dahiya. During PhD, many students feel depressed because they think that they are not going anywhere with constant stress and pressure from the mentors. How to set back from there? So it's about the depression. How to set back from there?
Okay. I guess this is a question asked by Divya.
Surabhi Dahiya.
Surabhi. So Surabhi, I guess, let me tell you, the frustration, the setback, the feeling low is all very common, and this is going to come at every step. Maybe at times PhD it's much more. It also depends on the environment, the lab environment, your supervisor, your colleagues. And one, again, as an individual, you have to decide what is the threshold. It's not that you have to allow it to reach your threshold. You should have a really strong, again, a network of friends. You should be courageous enough to open up and speak if there's something that's bothering you, even if that means it's the thought of your supervisor. Again, have that courage to speak up. Don't come under that pressure which you feel is being put on you. Some bit of pressure is okay, I would say, some bit. And that's a threshold one has to decide on his or her own. But beyond a certain point, one must open up and again take a stand. And never be shy of opening up and telling your peers that, well, this is something which is affecting me, which is something bothering me, something that I am not able to handle. Do not let that stay inside you bottled up. It has to come out. And again, one has to have the courage to open up. Right? And things become much easier once you open up and share your experience with others.
Absolutely. There's one question from Anushka. She is asking how to motivate more women to join science, and I want to know how your organization is working in this direction.
So I guess India Bioscience is a very small team. We are 7, and if you recollect the picture I showed, there was just one male member in the team who's now left. So we are all women team, and I take pride in it. But we definitely want. So it's again, I'm not sure how to get more women interested in science. Lot many more women are interested in science, I would say, because if you look at the pipeline, the number of women, especially in life sciences, if you look at, is much more in the initial years. It's only after the PhD and the postdoc level that the pipeline becomes leaky and you have less and less and less number of women going up. Things are changing drastically. I guess organizations have started to take a note of it. But yes, as a woman also, I would say that regardless of your personal commitments, if you want to make a stand, if you want to build a career, I guess no one would be able to stop you. Some things have to change at the organizational levels for sure, which I understand, at least in some organizations in India, things are changing. It's, starting from flexi hours to, daycare centers for kids and all that. Definitely the leadership, the management has to be more cognizant of the fact that women may need more flexible working hours at times. So if I can say at India Bioscience, we are completely flexible. Again, relate it with a bigger organization, but yes, we are flexible. Time that we have, that no, you have to work or clock it from 9 to 5. If morning hours suits you, if evening suits you, if weekend suits you, it's perfectly fine as long as something is delivered. And that's a call the higher ups also have to take, that as long as an employee, regardless of being a woman or a man, is delivering, it should be perfectly fine. So it's a very delicate balance, but yes, it has to come from both sides.
Yeah, so we are ending almost the time. Time is already up, and I will pick up my last question here. Preksha Joshi is asking, are the crimes that are prevalent in relation to women hindering the talented and deserving women from doing wonders? What are your views relating to this issue?
Crimes.
Yes.
What is that? Okay, I am not sure exactly what.
Just put that in the chat box.
Yes. So I would say that I'm not sure what exactly you, Preksha, you mean by crimes, but if it's a crime that's happening in the society, yes, many times because of the family pressure or things, you take a backseat and you're not allowed to venture out. But again, I would say that it's your own courage, it's your own determination which matters here. I can share a very personal example here, that when I would go to Baroda for my master's from Banaras, I would take a train that used to reach Surat at 2 in the night. I would I would change trains, reach Baroda at 4 in the morning, and then wait at the railway station, and then go to the hostel early in the morning when it's lighted. So I guess one has to take certain bold steps. The crime that's happening in the society is not something we can do anything about. It's the law that has to work. That it's the law enforcement that has to take care of the crimes. But I guess we have to develop ourselves in a way that we remain courageous. We take our safety measures. That comes first. Like I said, I would not go out of the railway station before it became lighted. I would just sit in the waiting room. But there are certain things which we should not be scared of. And again, that's where I would thank my parents for letting me do all that. Right. So as parents also, we should grow up our kids or the next generation in a way that they are confident of their own steps. And then I guess nothing can stop anyone.
Yes, over to you, Dr. Yogalakshmi.
Absolutely. We also have a faces problem in Bathinda because all the trains come in the unusual time. So I remember me coming from my home and then reaching Bathinda. It was very nice, ma'am. So we'll wind it up. And thank you so much once again for such a nice talk, vibrating and resonating talk. The key takeaway, as I told you, be courageous, be bold, and then learn to take risks that will take you forward. With that, I hand over to Dr. Felix.
Thank you, Yogalakshmi.
Welcome. Welcome, Dr. Smita. Dr. Felix?
He's not audible.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Amazing to have you. And more than that, you are very much for the group. I'm sure since from our participants, and they are always, they might contact you, over.
Anytime.
So welcome. So if you have any Twitter handle, you may share your Twitter there too, because I'm sure a lot of people are there. They would like to reshare your contents of the India Biosciences too.
Sure, I would do that.
Thank you
I would do that.
for joining. We are here.
Thank you, Felix, once again for having me here.
So coming to the next talk, it's a 3 times, and Professor R. Clay, Vice and convener of this week-long workshop, and Professor is going to be more, in kind of made for 30 people. So I hope you will have lunch. So enjoy the meals, and we'll be right back at 3. Goodbye. Yoga
You
ma'am?
stopped sharing, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I made you the host, so you will have to stop the stream. So I will tell you how to.
Okay.
On the right side, do you see an option? Upside,
Yeah, end the
stop
stream.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
End
please
the
end the
stream.
stream. Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Okay,
No,
sir. Bye-bye.
not yet. Not yet.